Well, Coach, you just had a tremendous compliment from your tight end, Travis Kelce. You just said, hey, Coach Reid does a great job of getting us to peakness is what he talked about. And I don't want you to give anything away. That's a credit to you, and a lot of coaches have that ability to do that. But, over your course of your coaching career, how have you been able to develop that? Because it does seem like come right at game time that the team is peaking, what we call ready for game day, where you're just ready to just unleash it on game day.
Yeah, so, Jim, I mean, you know this, having played for all those years. So I try to communicate with the players, just see where they're at. And I've got guys that I trust and that will shoot me straight. And whether it's a players committee or guys like Trav, who's on the players committee, but guys that have been around a while, they'll tell me how they feel when I ask them, and they just won't go, "Hey, I'm great." They'll say, "Listen, legs are getting a little tired, but we're good." Well, then you can back off a little bit as a coach, and then you look at the visual part. You keep your eyes open and try to look at the players and see how they're moving around and go from there. And you kind of hope for the best from that point, that you're doing okay. And then with the installs, you can overkill the guys to where they just turn it off and go, "Oh my God, do we have to do this again?" And as opposed to trying to feed them, give them a little bit extra to help make them better, as opposed to just beating up the same thing over and over. Guys that fall asleep on you. You do that too much.
I think when we get down to the end of the year, 20 games of football, 21 games of football, the backups keep playing more important roles all the time. We just talked about your tackles. I've been impressed in this postseason with Darrel Williams. And I've seen you do it before, Andy. You've asked a running back that maybe wasn't the starter early in the year to come in and have to play, and they always play well. I think Darrel in the postseason, I looked at his numbers. He's got 31 touches in 2 games and 155 yards, and he's moved the chains a whole bunch of times. Talk a little bit about him and the value of those guys, because the full roster gets challenged by the end of the season.
Well, yeah, no, it does. I mean, it's a violent game, and the league's done a great job, along with the coaches, of trying to limit that the best you can and make it, clean the game up in essence, and make it a little bit safer. But it's tough now, man. It's tough mentally. It's tough physically as you go through it. And guys like D, he's so smart, so football smart, and so willing. He's coming off an injury from last year where he was just starting to climb that same ladder, gets hurt, and then spends the offseason rehabbing, and then he comes back this year and has put together a good year. And it's been a steady increase in play time as he's gone here. And he's got his weight where he wants it, his strength where he wants it, and he's just in a good balanced spot for himself. And it shows with his production.
Well, from your standpoint, Coach, and we talked to Steve Spagnuolo about this, just the first matchup against Tampa Bay, and Coach talked about, he said they're a lot different than what they were previously. I'd just like to get your impressions of Tampa Bay, what you see going into this contest.
Well, they're healthier, number one, and two, they're more familiar with, from Steve's standpoint, they're more familiar with Tom. The receivers are. The offensive line, everybody. I mean, they're peaking there at the right time and playing good football. And then defensively, they got a couple guys back, corner and 35, and then the nose and all this. So they've got a couple extra bodies in there that are flying around and making plays, and so they're hitting their stride defensively likewise, and they're number one against the run, and they're pretty dang good against the pass. So, but that's why we do all of this. I mean, we love the challenge of playing the best, and they're the best in the NFC. And but I mean, let's go. I mean, let's play and challenge each other and make it a great game.
Last one for me, Andy. Thank you very much for joining us. By the way, as always,
Thanks, Pat.
Todd Bowles. I said what the other day, shoot a hole if you think I'm wrong. I said, if I tried to put a card to every defensive look he gave me, the list. The secret is to not do that, I think, because there's so many ways he tries to play you. Your thoughts on the challenge of Todd Bowles?
Yeah, I was telling somebody that I liked him a lot better when he was my defensive coordinator. So right now, Bruce has got him, and he does a heck of a job. He was a player, so he knows what the guys can handle mentally and physically, and he tests them. He pushes them to the limit, aptitude wise, I'm sure. So he asks them to do a lot of different things, and they do it well. I guess a lot of different formations and looks from these offenses. So I don't think he's going to change that. I think he's going to keep rolling them out to us, and then it's our challenge to make sure that we handle it.